Welcome to another Kerbal Space Program with Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo. When last we met, we had just gotten an opportunity to rendezvous with and save Katema, a brand new Kerbonaut now. Katema is now joining us on a mission to land on Minmus. So we took Shertree, who we just hired last mission, and we now have Katema, who we picked up orbiting all by herself. How she got here, I don't know, because I didn't launch her. Maybe it's from that top secret Kerbal space program or other continent space program on the other side of the world. Well, we'll have an opportunity to talk to her when we get back. We don't know. Maybe she made the rocket for herself. Anyway, we're going to try to get ourselves into a lower orbit, and then we're going to scan for a place to land. We already landed on one of the planes, so this time it would probably be a good idea to land in one of the highlands. So we were in the lowlands. We could be in the Midlands, we can be in the Highlands, we can be in the Poles. There's so many biomes here, and we'll talk about how to find them all later on in another episode. So we are actually going in the direction that we're supposed to, which is good because the last mission I took on my personal game, I got here and I was going the wrong direction. But changing your plane around, changing the plane of your orbit around Minmus is almost nothing. You have no reason to worry about that. Changing it around Kerbin or larger bodies like Joule are going to take a boatload of extra fuel. So you want to make sure you have the right plane when you go into orbit. So here we are. We're going to get ready for our landing. So let's do what we do in these situations. Let's go to the fast forward, or let's just speed up the film a little. So now you get to watch everything and sped up video, so you get to see how I actually got this thing to go where I wanted to. It's not very difficult. There's a lot of delta V in this. We could land almost anywhere we want, and with the newer engines and the newer landing struts, there's absolutely no problem with where we go. So we're going to be bopping around, going around the planet, trying to get science in different places. We are set up for a ton of science gathering in this one, and because we took Shertree, we have a scientist with us that could reset each and every one of those wonderful science experiments. Now there is one thing on there, and you'll see the SCAN planetary mapping. That is an odd device that I think actually, if you put it on a low orbiting polar satellite and just leave it on and leave your computer running for a while with physics acceleration on, you could probably map out the planet and moon pretty quickly. But we're not going to do that right now. We put it on here because I didn't know what it was and how it was going to work. I just decided to use it. So here I am trying to situate myself in a non-sloped way. Like I want to land, but I don't want to land on a big slope because being tall and heavy, if this thing starts to go over, I don't have a lot of I wouldn't have the ability to right the ship very easily, and that's something that I definitely want to be aware of with this. So we moved it around, we got it to an area, this big outcropping that seemed to be a good place to land. So we're going to slow it back down again and watch us go down. So from inside the cockpit, this particular capsule is not really something that people would land in because you're not actually seeing the ground the way that they did inside of things like the lunar module or like the lander can that you have in here. They actually have viewports that face downwards also, so you can see where you're going. Nonetheless, we're putting down. Let's just make believe that Bob has cameras below his spaceship, which is possible. It's possible they could have had them back then. And he can see what's below him. And thankfully, it's not rough terrain, and it's not very sloped, although there is kind of a slope here. So, I think this would be Valentina, not Bob. It's Valentina, Shertree, and Katema. Those are our crew. It's an all-girl crew. I just realized that. Well, we had no idea when we started. We had no idea that Katema was going to be female. So we are putting down over here, and we have touchdown. Take off that SAS. Good. You always want to take off the SAS. It is kind of wobbly. The legs did not extend below the poodle engine that much. We could have fixed that with pylons. We could have made it so it worked, and I didn't do that. That was kind of bad on my part. Nonetheless, we're going to collect all the science we can, and let's see that in a little bit faster speed. And now we get to see, I think we're going to send Shirtree outside, and we get to see Shirtree run around, collect some stuff in a rapid way. Now, making sure you get all the science available in a particular biome is important. Now, one of the things that I can tell you is we don't have all of the different items that we need. There are many other science experiments that we could do, like gravitron waves and I believe seismic waves, different things that we haven't unlocked yet. So later on, just to get some extra science, we may come back here. But the items that we're trying to unlock are getting increasingly more difficult because they are costing a lot more research points to unlock. So it means having to go to places where you can make more and more research points. And that's going to be why we're going to have to start talking about getting to Duna and start building things that could actually land there and take off. So other people try to send ships there and probes, but unfortunately the way that Duna is set up right now in my current game is that it wants us to explore Duna, which means we have to send Kerbals there. So my idea is to send probes out there, or space station parts that have probes on them, build a space station, get a couple of orange tanks out there and connected to it, so we'll have all of the fuel that we need. And when I say orange tanks, it will be orange tanks and RCS tanks. And then to send a manned mission with 5 Kerbonauts there, 2 scientists to stay in the ship, and then a scientist to go down along with a pilot and an engineer to stay back at the ship just in case. So, or at the station. So that's my idea, and I'm going to have to start thinking about how to build this over time. And we're going to send the parts there, then we're going to send the Kerbals. So it's going to be a longer mission. Now, along with the orange tanks and the space station that we're going to send out, we're probably going to send out some probes and a couple of landers. Why? Because from time to time, we might see a mission that pops up that says, hey, for 80,000 Kerbal currency, send information back from Duna. Send or retrieve information from Duna. If we have probes that are in the area, on Ike, on the surface, we'll probably be able to get there and back and collect a lot of data with no problem and have those missions finished in order to start some new ones. Now, you're watching me have my time of my life over here trying to get Ketema back inside this bay. It's not the easiest thing. What I could have done if I had the better ladders, I should have just done it with a ladder. That's what I should have done. But I put that stupid mapping thing on the back of it, and that would have kept me from doing it. So we will get in there. We will get the rest of the information, and we're going to continue to talk. So Duna has a lot of issues, unlike here. And the biggest issue is that you are entering atmosphere, so theoretically you do need to have heat shields. If we were using a mod, an add-on like Ferrum Aerospace, we would need to have some kind of a heat shield on it. But the engines are able to handle quite a bit, and as long as you have a service bay like this, you can hide all of your experiments and not have to worry as much. So this is us going through. Again, we're knocking things around because the glue comes loose when you bump into it. And we got that last bit of information. Now we've got to go and find the hatch and get up there. And Ketema is better than she looks. She's going to get up there, and then we're going to relocate and leave Valentina to the job of, leave the job to Valentina to find us a place to go. Let's close this up, and let's get Valentina ready to transmit some of the science we just collected, if there is any. Nope. And we're looking at our ship, deciding which direction I need to point in. I'm looking down, looking up, trying to see what things that we did, what things we still have. And here we go. We are on our way. 3, 2, 1, ignition. And we're up, right? Not so bad. And now we have to decide which way do we want to go. That's the big thing. I think I'm going to head north. North is the line right up there. Let's go north. Let's go see what Santa Claus does up here. So headed towards the North Pole of Minmus. And we should get there with ease. So I'm going to put the speed up video again until we get to the North Pole here. So we're going to speed it up a little bit more than 2 times now. Minmus has low gravity, so we can do this. And just take a look and see what it takes to get there. So we've turned ourselves back retrograde, and we're just going to ride it out until we're over the poles. Now, the poles are a different biome, of course, so we can get all these experiments that we did over on the equator up on the pole without any problem, because Ketema was able to scrub all the science out of those and make them available to us once again to get science. It's all in the name of science, folks, right? So we're actually managing a lot of things in this version of the game. We're managing science, we're managing money, we're managing upgrades, we're managing XP on our astronauts and our scientists and our engineers. So that's pretty cool. And the parts unlocks, they come, but you really do have to know what things are important to you. That way, when you are unlocking things, you're unlocking them in an order that's going to A, continue to make science for you, but also B, create efficient spacecraft that aren't going to take a lot of money to create. So here we go, trying to set ourselves down on the planet. I think this one's going to take a little bit longer than I thought. Anyhow, it's beautiful. I don't know which one of the add-ons this is that gives all the rocks and outcroppings. I bet you that it's the base game. I bet you. Because there is an add-on that gives like a cloud layer just above the surface that makes it look like the ice is melting and evaporating into space. It's pretty cool. I'm just not happy with the crashes I've been having, and to put things, to put a heavier load on the graphics when, this is Unity. I don't know how much Unity actually handles that 4 gigabyte graphic card I have. I don't know if it's actually doing a lot. Look at the shadow being rendered actually accurately. Look how long it is, being that we're almost at the North Pole. It's kind of crazy, right? Yeah, so we're going to set down. And again, microbursts. Let yourself settle to the ground. That's the way to do it. And you settle. Turn off the SAS. Turn off the SAS. There we go. And we seem to be falling over. And give it a nudge back the other way. There we go. That, it probably is because there's probably a lot of lateral motion as you're flying up here. Because when you're landing, there is an actual rapid movement to the surface of the moon because of how fast it spins at the poles compared to how fast it spins at the equator. Now, of course, it's a constant speed spinning on its axis, but you will be spinning a lot more rapidly at the poles. All right, so we got down, and we're going to get science. So let's speed this up again, and then we can end this mission, hopefully. Well, I get the feeling I'm going to melt my Mac here. And the main reason for that is because I keep on adding in these fast forwards, and it has to render those. And I continue to put live audio over the top of it. Well, what happened there is I fell down, and she wound up skidding. And in real time, that was a really long, slow motion skid. I mean, that took a long time to stop in real life, in real time. So we're getting her up in the air to see if we can get some kind of different science in the area that we're at right now. And let's get back into the ship now. We got to go collect some things over there. So we're going to plant the flag over here. I think this is close to the North Pole, so we'll call it the Northern Green Pole. So we have the Northern Green Pole. Funny, looks the same as the rest of the planet, or the rest of the moon. All right, let's get over here. Let's get things taken care of. Get all the science that we can. Get it up into the capsule. And we should be fine. And this is the hard part now. Flying around with your what do you call it's open. Your solar panels can be dangerous. I'm going to say that on almost every one of these episodes. Because I'm sure one of you is going to be flying around with their solar panels just unfurled and crash into it with a Kerbal at least once. In fact, if you've ever done that, just give me a little nod down below with a statement saying, yeah, I've done that and it really stinks. Yeah, it especially stinks if you don't have an engineer with you, and I don't believe we have one. I don't know what Katema is right now, but I think the last thing that she is a oh god, I forgot I fell off there. Is an engineer. All right. Well, we got extra science in here. Let's close it up and let's take this baby back home. No, there's no place like home. 3, 2, 1, and we have liftoff. No, we don't. What happened? 2, 1, go? Yeah, okay. It's a little bit late. That's what happens when you do the post commentary here. So we've got to get ourselves into orbit, and then we're going to just tell MechJeb to take us home. Why? Well, why the hell not? MechJeb is on the system. It cost us a lot of money. Why not give it something to do? Now, there's not a lot of delta V needed to orbit this particular moon. Probably be about a 100 to 150 delta V gets you into a nice low orbit. So let's see what we can do here. All right, so we're pointing in the right direction, waiting for our altitude to be where we want it to be, which is around 9K. We don't want to crash into any mountains. I keep forgetting that we're at one of the higher points, not low points. So still it's right around 9K. So we're going to get up to about 9K and then fire our rocket and start putting us into orbit. Oh, stop. That's too high. We kept that up, we would have had a problem. Wow. It's going to be a big orbit. And there we go. God, I forgot how much I was rushed when I was doing this mission. Yeah, remember, when you're doing these missions, there's always the escape key to pause the game when you're doing it. You don't have to do everything at once. And yes, indeed, there was a game crash at that moment. And guess what? I got back and had to do most of all that EVA stuff outside. Well, EVA, extracurricular. Extravehicular, I should say. And we had to start all over. So we had science, and I'm going to skip over all this extra stuff that we had to do because it's the same and get to the liftoff period. So we're going to start off in roughly the same place that we were before. Roughly. And I mean roughly. And we're going to just get ourselves to go back to Kerbal. And that's essentially you circularize your orbit, and then you find the side of the... you go on the side of the moon or the planet that's closest to your escape vector, and then you fire in a prograde or retrograde manner. In this case, it would be prograde, which would be retrograde to the planet Kerbal. So let's watch how this goes. So I'm going to just keep this on rapid, and we're going to talk about the next few missions. So the next few missions are actually going to be to get a space station back in orbit. And this time we're going to make it useful. We're going to try to build something that can refuel vessels, have multiple docking ports on it, and house some Kerbals up there for quite a while. We're going to use it as a stopping point for every mission that's either going to or coming back from the moon, and possibly use it to stage some spacecraft going off to Duna. I'm not sure if that's exactly what I'm going to do, because when I fire off the tanks that I want to get there, I think I'm going to keep it a little bit different than that. We're going to try to get as much fuel to Duna as we can, and we're also going to try to better manage our debris from now on. And that means doing some burns just before entering orbit, or if you're running out of fuel on your main stage, hitting X a little bit sooner than later, letting it drop back into the atmosphere, and then, just using your secondary stages to get up into orbit. It's going to be a little bit harder, but we don't want to litter space and potentially damage other spacecraft that we'll be putting in orbit later on. We also have quite a number of debris, up in orbit right now. So we could actually use space tugs that are probes that are really cheap, that we can attach to the different debris that's up there and bring them back home. If we put enough of our chutes on it, it might gain us back some cash. Not a lot, but there's a couple of mainsails and skipper engines floating around in space right now, and if we could retrieve them and bring them back, they are going to be quite a bit useful. Alright, here we are coming back to planet Kerbin. We're totally out of fuel. I was hoping that we were going to save the lower stage, and you know, the more you think about it, the more useless that is. It is quite a bit expensive, but it's also, we just don't have enough of the parachutes on there to take it home with us. I should have put like 3 or 4 parachutes on it and seen if it would come back by itself. That would have been pretty cool. But they would have definitely burnt up. So I moved the main chute into its own place. No problem. We get a little bit of science over here. That's not bad, right? I'm going to save that. And it also says that we can gain some more science. And I think what I do here is I wait until we're in a stable descent and the main chute is deployed, and then I'll let our Kerbin go out and gain some science. Let's see if we do that. It is something. Yes, it is. As soon as both chutes are open, we're going slow enough where the slipstream isn't going to drag them off of there. We get some more science hanging on the side of it. And this mission is over, and a huge success nonetheless. Alright, let's go see what we've gained from this mission. We have another EVA report we can get, a surface sample. We could have planted a flag. That would have given them another... should have planted a flag. And we're getting back. And this is sped up 2 times. That's how fast it... Not bad for 664 science. And we did transmit back a lot of reports. And we... Oh, wow. We leveled up quite a number of people. That was amazing. That was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful flight. And we could start unlocking some of the things that I was talking about. We can unlock the probidine. Okay, we might be able to get some other fuel. This is hard, trying to figure out what to do. And I think I should have probably gone with the more sciencey stuff at the bottom right. And I didn't. There was a reaction wheel in there that might have helped. There was a big probe, I think, that I unlocked. I'm not sure. Yeah, that was something I should have done right there. Because it gives us more science that we can get. But here, that was a probe. Yeah, that was the big probe. And that's going to come into play with me building my next space station. And we will end it here. Thank you very much, everyone. And with that said, you all be safe out there. And I'll talk to you soon.